This podcast is an invitation to feel and experience the souls of famous old Hollywood homes and to have an in-depth journey to the areas where they're located through interviews with longtime residents. Either you're a fan of old Hollywood in Los Angeles, planning to have a vacation, or, an even bigger step, considering a certain area for your future home. This is your opportunity to receive valuable information and insightful advice you won't find anywhere else.
Hello, and welcome to my podcast. Are you in the mood for California? Today, we'll explore Sierra Madre, featuring an interview with wonderful John Capoccia.
You know, if you've lived here for a long time, you feel a real connection to the community, and it's almost like you feel, I don't know how to describe it, but when I drive into other towns and I see welcome to so-and-so, different city's name, and I don't want to use anybody else's city name on the podcast, but I kind of chuckle to myself and think, I live in Sierra Madre and you don't.
Masha Korpacheva is a California-based realtor and a member of the National Association of Realtors in Los Angeles. She's an advocate for selling and buying homes with soul and practicing mindfulness in real estate. With master's degrees in spiritual psychology and linguistics, Masha brings all of her skills to work with her clients. An intuit and empath, she has touched many lives with her outstanding ability to see beyond the visible and helping to come to better understanding of issues and their resolutions. An adventurous world traveler, from climbing Mount Kilimanjaro in Tanzania to exploring the Galapagos Islands, Masha has a particular passion for the City of Angels. Having landed in this paradise and adopted it as her home, she's been sharing old Hollywood stories since 2007. In the mood for California, feel the soul of old Hollywood.
And now, are you ready to experience Sierra Madre? Cuddled up at the base of the San Gabriel Mountains, Sierra Madre's history dates back over 1,500 years to the Tongva people who established a village in Sierra Madre Canyon. By 1881, Nathaniel Carter, an ambitious entrepreneur with a dream of creating a utopian therapeutic community called Nature's Sanitarium, had purchased over 1,000 acres, including land from famed California pioneer Lucky Baldwin and the Southern Pacific Railroad. Despite his poor naming skills, Carter chose a perfect site for Sierra Madre. Carter combined 3 parcels of land into what he called the Sierra Madre Tract, dividing it into 20-acre lots that he sold for $60 per acre. The popular Mount Wilson Trail attracted many hikers, and by 1906, the Pacific Electric Railway connected Sierra Madre to Los Angeles, spurring brief but intense development with modern amenities like paved roads, electric lights, and telephones. As settlers arrived, the village blossomed with citrus groves, a water system, a post office, a city hall, and even an amateur drama society. One of the village's most cherished stories began in 1891 when Edwin Waldo Ward Sr. pursued his passion for producing marmalade on his farm in Sierra Madre. Against all odds, he succeeded, and over a century later, E. Waldo Ward and Son is still thriving. The 3rd and 4th generations of the Ward family now run the company, preserving the historic canning factory and the newly restored Red Barn. Another beloved tale from Sierra Madre's history is that of the wisteria vine. In 1894, a small wisteria plant was purchased for 75 cents from the old Wilson Nursery in Monrovia and planted in Sierra Madre. The vine grew rapidly, so much so that by 1931 it had destroyed the original house it was planted near. Today, this magnificent vine, with its 500-foot branches and about 40 blossoms per square foot, holds the Guinness World Record as the world's largest blooming plant, weighing over 250 tons. The Sierra Madre Historical Preservation Society plays a vital role in keeping the town's rich history alive. Through 2 museums, Lizzie's Trail Inn and the Richardson House, and historical archives at the Sierra Madre Public Library, the Society showcases the city's past with engaging exhibits and events, ensuring that the stories of Sierra Madre are not forgotten. Today, Sierra Madre is a quaint, safe, and friendly town with charming storefronts reminiscent of the 1920s and 1930s. Over 40% of its homes are more than 50 years old, and many are listed as historical monuments. And though growth has slowed, Sierra Madre retains its rustic charm and is a popular home buying destination for families. It offers a laid-back village lifestyle with the conveniences of nearby Pasadena and Los Angeles. The small town vibe, historical downtown, and residential neighborhoods make Sierra Madre a unique and inviting place to live and visit. Walking through Sierra Madre is like stepping into a time warp, with every corner sharing a treasured memory, from the vision of Nathaniel Carter to the dreams fulfilled by Edwin Waldo Ward Sr. and the incredible wisteria vine. This darling town is inviting you to become a part of its ongoing story. And here we are. Welcome to Sierra Madre. I'm so delighted to have John Capoccia here with me. John Capoccia served on the Sierra Madre City Council for 2 terms, from 2012 to 2020, twice as mayor. John retired in 2011 from AT&T, where he held engineering, managerial, and leadership positions over a 27-year career. John is an avid tennis player and all-round outdoors enthusiast. He and his wife, Marta, have lived in Sierra Madre for 40-plus years, where they have raised their 3 children, Lauren, Joseph, and Susan. John now serves as president of the San Gabriel Valley Mosquito and Vector Control District and serves on boards of trustees for the Sierra Madre Playhouse, the Sierra Madre Chamber of Commerce, and the Sierra Madre Historical and Preservation Society. John will share with us what it actually feels like to live in Sierra Madre. Hello, John.
Good morning, Masha.
Good morning. So glad that you found the time today to talk about Wisteria City, beautiful Sierra Madre, located right at the foothills of the San Gabriel Valley. It's just such a very special place.
Well, thank you. It's my pleasure to participate, and thank you for asking me. But I just want to say it was really good to meet you on Sunday at our Pasadena Sierra Madre Playhouse, 100th
Yes.
anniversary of it being a playhouse. And we're making a transition to a performing arts center. And it was just a wonderful performance on Kate Dunton on Sunday. And it was a pleasure to meet you. And I'm so glad you attended.
Yes, thank you so much. Well, the pleasure was all mine. And Sierra Madre Playhouse is one of my treasured little places that I always like to go to because the performances there are really amazing.
Yes.
Well, John, you have lived in this absolutely darling little town since 1983. That's a whole lifetime. Could you please share what it feels like to live in this city?
Well, it feels really, really good. I'll just have to say that over time, my appreciation of the town has definitely increased, and to where at this point in our lives, we can't even imagine living anywhere else. But I do want to say that, we first moved here. I actually was unemployed. I had just been laid off from the Ralph M. Parsons Company, and that was on Christmas Eve. And our mortgage was going to close on January 2nd, the following year, 1983.
Wow.
So it was kind of a weird time, but so when we moved here, we didn't have any children. And this is our starter home here on Highland Avenue, which is just 2 blocks north of the Playhouse, right near the downtown. Anyway, this was our starter home, and we're still here. So that'll tell you a little bit about, what it's like to live here. Once we really got established, we just never wanted to leave. But we did leave for 3 years after I was hired at Pacific Bell. I got an opportunity to transfer to New Jersey on a 3-year assignment, and I wanted to sell the house. And fortunately, my wife had the foresight to just put her foot down and say, well, no, we are not selling the house. And if you want to do that, then I'm just not going to go.
Wow,
So,
strong woman.
well, she had remarkable insight because at the time, I just basically was changing careers and trying to get established at my new job. And so that's where most of my focus was. And also, we started having kids. We had 2 kids in pretty quick succession. So we moved to New Jersey and rented the house here in Sierra Madre. And I didn't even expect to come back. I thought I'd be relocated to San Ramon, where the company headquarters was. But I was really fortunate. Somebody is looking out for us. And we managed to come back to Sierra Madre in 3 years and just moved back into our house. We just leased it out while we were gone, and we came back. So, if you've lived here for a long time, you feel a real connection to the community. And it's almost like you feel, I don't know how to describe it, but when I drive into other towns and I see welcome to so and so, different city's name, and I don't want to use anybody else's city name on the podcast, but I kind of chuckle to myself and think, I live in Sierra Madre and you don't, So, and when you hear people talk about where they live, I just kind of smile to myself and don't even enter much of a discussion. And I just think to myself, well, I'm just so lucky. I don't live where you do. I live in Sierra Madre.
Wow.
So it's a pretty special place.
Yes. And what is it that makes it so special to you?
Well, it's in Los Angeles area, there's LA County is 10 million people.
Mm-hmm.
Sierra Madre is a little 3.2 square miles, just tucked up under the San Gabriel Mountains. And it has a population of about 11,000. And it's got a quaint little downtown. It's very safe, one of the safest cities in Sierra Madre. And people here generally, I know a lot of people that are 3rd and 4th generation Sierra Madreans.
Mm-hmm.
So, it's home, it's got some history. And if you've lived here a while, you get to know the history of it and you just feel really connected to it. And it's just been a great place to raise our 3 children. They kind of had the run of the town. We never worried about them. And, these days with helicopter parents, we were not that at all.
Mm-hmm.
The kids would just go out and play and we didn't even know where they went. And they would just come home and everything was cool. It's just a really comfortable place to live.
Yes, it sounds like it. And what about schools? Would you say that schools are pretty good in Sierra Madre?
Yes, they are now. Sierra Madre School, I lived just 2 houses from Sierra Madre School. At the time we moved here, it wasn't very good. And at the time we moved to New Jersey, I saw an article in the paper that said Sierra Madre School was ranked in the 30th percentile in California. In California, educational wise, was like 48 out of 50 states. So I thought, oh my God, when we come back, we are not going to send our kids to Sierra Madre School. So they went to St. Rita's, which is a Catholic school. And that worked out very, very well for us. But now Sierra Madre School is the flagship of the Pasadena Unified School District.
Wow.
Yeah, early on, I think it was in the 40s, Sierra Madre gave up their school district because we were just a poor, working class town back then. And Pasadena was much more well off, and their spending per pupil was much higher than Sierra Madre did. And Pasadena was putting pressure on us to, I forget why or how, but we were attending their high school, and they wanted to take over the school district basically, or they said you can find somewhere else to send your kids to high school. Our population didn't support a high school, so the town voted to, be annexed to Pasadena Unified, and it was considered like even a better school district than Arcadia at the time. Mm-hmm. So we lost control of our school district. But now, after all these years, just a resurgent parent participation with Sierra Madre School has turned it around where, like I say, it's the flagship school for Pasadena. And we also have the other elementary school that was just down the street on Highland Avenue, which was rebuilt completely, and that's now the middle school. That for years was leased out to Maranatha High School. They had their high school campus there, and they have since moved to the old Ambassador, or I think it's the Worldwide Church of God campus in Pasadena. And so it did revert back to junior high, 7th and 8th grade. And it also is a very highly rated school, and it's beautiful. It's been completely rebuilt. Mm-hmm. So, so the schools are very good. But when you get to high school, then you have to go to one of the Pasadena high schools.
Okay, I see. Well, that's good. Well, it does seem that Sierra Madre is very conducive for, going to different schools, and the system is very good. And at the same time, you also mentioned that it is a very safe community, and with just 11,000 people, it must feel like a little village in a way, probably.
It does. We often refer to it as Mayberry, USA. Mm-hmm. It's just really a throwback. It's just a pretty tight-knit community. And over the years, just being involved in various things with the Little League and other things in town, you just get to know a lot of people, and it makes it a special place. When you go to dinner downtown, it's just almost impossible not to run into friends and acquaintances that you meet, and just everywhere you go, it's kind of like that. So yes, it's a very safe, wholesome kind of a community.
Oh, what a beautiful description. Safe and wholesome community. And then downtown Sierra Madre is absolutely darling, with all the little restaurants, little stores, and of course, Sierra Madre Playhouse, and then all of a sudden you don't even feel like you're in a village anymore, but you feel like you're back in time. And yet you have all the modern, things available to you. But at the same time, the feeling is so cozy, just, coming for dinner to downtown Sierra Madre, then going to the Playhouse. It's just a beautiful way to spend, Saturday or Sunday evening.
Yes, the downtown area is very, very special. Mm-hmm. And, I'll just tell you, I'll touch on, again, having been a mayor and city councilman for 8 years in Sierra Madre. What's really different about Sierra Madre, in one sense, compared to all the communities around us, we really have very little sales tax revenue. Mm-hmm. Like, I'll throw some numbers off the top of my head. They might not be accurate, but you get the idea. But I think like in Arcadia, next door, or Pasadena, they probably get close to 30% of their revenue from sales tax in one form or another. Sierra Madre gets about 2%.
Oh my God, as compared to 30%. Wow.
Yeah, so we don't have any big box stores or anything like that. But, my point about this is our downtown is very special, but it's not for the purpose of generating revenue. Mm-hmm. The downtown, to me, is for the people of Sierra Madre. And so this is why, like when I was on the council and today being on the Playhouse board, we're starting to kind of emphasize that the Playhouse brings people into town and they visit our restaurants. And again, it's not for the purpose of raising money, but it's to create a vibrant downtown. So when you walk downtown on a Friday, Saturday night, there's people milling around and walking, and it just has that great feel to it. And I think this is just, as a resident in Sierra Madre, this is one of the special things about Sierra Madre, that you have this downtown that you can go to with a bunch of great restaurants and coffee shops and, a bakery. Then the other thing about this is we have Arnold Hardware, a True Value Hardware that's been here for many, many years. We have our own little pharmacy, Pax Pharmacy, and our own little market, Taylor's Market.
Beautiful.
It's all within walking distance, again, or you can ride your bike or whatever. But I mean, I work on my house a lot. My house was built in 1912 and it needs a lot of maintenance, of course. But I can't tell you, just 2 or 3 times a week, I zip over, I jump on my bike and I go to the hardware store.
Yes.
And they have screws, nuts, paint, varnish, caulk, just whatever you need. And it's just so incredibly convenient rather than driving to the Home Depot, or you just need something to prepare your dinner tonight instead of driving to Ralph's down the mountain. You can walk over to Taylor's and pick up what you need. And it's hard to put a value on that, but it really makes living in Sierra Madre just, again, a special and wonderful place to live.
Yes. Yeah, it does sound like it. Wow, this is very special. And then you also mentioned Pax Pharmacy is like with this huge, pharmacies like CVS, and Walgreens all over the city. And then you have this little pharmacy that is probably also family owned, and you just go there and you feel special. Probably, people who work there would know you by your name.
Exactly. That's exactly how it is. It's just really wonderful.
Yes. And what about restaurants? I know there are many very delicious spots in downtown. So what would you say are your favorite restaurants?
I'd have to say the Wisteria restaurant is probably my favorite. But the Row Fusion restaurant is very good. And I do have another favorite that gets overlooked a lot, and that is Corfu. Now, Corfu is, Middle East, Mediterranean style food. Yeah, Greek, But the fellow there that owns it, Vic, is just the nicest guy in the world. And he does a lot of catering. And whenever we have city events or things like that, he's always quick to give us a good deal on catering to serve, if we're having like an awards night or anything like that. So he's just such a great guy. The ambience in the restaurant is not really the greatest, but his prices are good and the food is good. But we've got the only place in town, the Nano Cafe, Casa del Rey, which is a Mexican restaurant. It's very good also. And we have just like Poppy Cakes, a bakery, and they make great sandwiches. And, I'll stop there. There's a few more I'd like to mention, but it just goes on and on.
Right.
But one more I have to mention is Mary's Market Cafe, which is in the Canyon. And that's a really old establishment. They just serve breakfast and lunch, but it's an iconic place. And it's in a residential area. And, right in the canyon. And it's just a great little place. Nothing like it around.
Oh, wow. Mary's Market Cafe. So would you say they have good coffee there?
Yes, they do. Yes.
Okay.
And it's a special place. If you visit it, you'll say, wow, this is really something.
Oh, wonderful. Well, thank you so much for sharing. These are like so many places to experience. Thank you so much. Well, John, you have had quite a successful career with AT&T, which, eventually culminated in your role as a general manager before retirement. And how do you think that your experience in project management and engineering has influenced your approach to public service in Sierra Madre, being a mayor?
Well, first of all, AT&T had a lot of general managers, so I don't want to make it sound like I was the general managers. I mean, this is a company that has at one time over 100,000 employees, but, I was responsible for certain things throughout my career. But I would just say I thought like after retiring and I ran for city council, that I thought my, management and leadership experience at AT&T would really make a difference. But I'll just have to say it just doesn't quite work that way.
Mm-hmm.
When you're accountable to voters, it's a little bit different. At AT&T, you could make decisions and you can convince your upper, level management of things in a very rational way. But when you're an elected official, there's a kind of an emotional element to just about everything. So you have to take a different approach. It doesn't necessarily help you just to be rational. And it took me a while to learn that you really have to appeal to the emotional side of people. So it's kind of a skill set that has to be developed. So I really don't know that my experience just being a numbers guy and all that was all that helpful.
Okay.
I had to learn new skills to be an effective council person. And that's assuming that you agree that I'm successful at it,
Very much so, yes.
Yeah, there will be plenty of people that tell you otherwise, so but you always just focus on doing the right thing for the town. You just know that people are going to disagree with you. And again, things are very emotional here in Sierra Madre. Then people I thought were my friends all of a sudden are bad mouthing me about this and that. And so it's just pretty interesting. Anyway, the experience being a council person was good. It was great, as a matter of fact, a wonderful experience. I don't think I would ever do it again. But again, I just don't know that my skills at AT&T were that relevant to being successful as a council person.
Yes, such an interesting insight. Very interesting. Well, now reflecting on your journey from a resident of Sierra Madre for so many years to serving as the mayor, along with your accomplished career in engineering and management, as I just mentioned. What message or maybe piece of advice would you offer to the community, especially to younger generations aspiring to make a difference in their neighborhoods and careers?
Well, first of all, I would just hope that we have a lot of people that are aspiring to make a difference in the neighborhood. I think Sierra Madre has changed over time, and where it was a community that was heavily dependent on volunteers, I think it's becoming less so. Like, for example, we just had a volunteer fire department up till just a few years ago. And now we've got a fully professional fire department. But, we used to have a lot of people that worked in town that could drop whatever they were doing to go respond to an alarm.
Mm-hmm.
And little by little, that went away. We just couldn't recruit volunteers to do that anymore. Sierra Madre is kind of a victim of its own success because it's such a wonderful place to live. Property values, like more so than even around us with our neighbors, have skyrocketed.
Yes.
So the only people that are moving into town are, dual income professionals pretty much. And they certainly don't have time to volunteer. But we do try to get people involved. We still have, these great events in Sierra Madre, like the Mount Wilson Trail Race, the Wisteria Festival, the 4th of July Parade. And these are all events that require a lot of coordination and a lot of people power to make them successful. So we do rely a lot on volunteers, but it's becoming increasingly hard to get people to volunteer. So that would be the one thing that I would say to young people in the community: get involved. Try to, you can go onto any of the groups' websites. So we put out messages on Facebook, and when there's an event that we're looking to sign up volunteers, please get involved. There's so many things you can do. And, follow what the city council is up to and keep up with what's happening in the community, and, be very rational about it. Because, again, we have a long history of, getting on certain sides of issues and being very emotional about that, to where sometimes the rational part of it goes away because we're, tied into an opinion about something that's happening in town. So that's all I can offer, is that just get involved, pay attention, and please, please, please volunteer.
Yes, yes. Volunteering and being socially conscious is really important for communities. Really, really important. And also, I would like to mention that the fact that recently Sierra Madre Playhouse has become not just a playhouse, but a performing arts center. And you show, movies there, you bring in, very good, very popular jazz musicians. And it's just very special for the community to have a place like this, because arts, I think, have always been about uniting people and bringing them together.
Yes, and I think with the Sierra Madre Playhouse, since we're just starting this program to be a performing arts center more so than just a playhouse, I really don't think the word has gotten out that much in Sierra Madre yet. But this is a really going to be a really exciting next couple of years. I mean, like you just mentioned, the jazz performances. We have a pretty well-known jazz musician who is now on the board. The acoustics of the Playhouse is just phenomenal, and jazz performers really love the place. So, this is a big deal. And I just also want to just mention our president of the Playhouse, David Gordon, who really has put forth the vision to convert this, because we just were not going to make it as a playhouse anymore. We had to do something different. And so far, it's just amazing how many people we've attracted from out of town to come to the Playhouse. So it's a really big deal and a very exciting new venture that we're on. And I'm just really excited about it.
Yes, yes. Well, I'm excited just as much. And John, I would like to thank you for taking the time today to have this wonderful conversation about one of the most beautiful little towns in the county of Los Angeles, Sierra Madre. And thank you very much for all the volunteer work that you do and all of the thought and heart that you put into this community where you've been a resident for so long. And I hope there will be many, many more young people stepping, up and following in your shoes as well.
Well, thank you very much, Masha. You're very kind. And again, thank you for inviting me for the interview and getting to talk about the place that I love, Sierra Madre. Thank you very much.
Thank you, John. Bye-bye. Until next time.
Okay, bye-bye.
Thank you very much for tuning in to feel and experience Sierra Madre with my special guest, John Capoccia. If you enjoy my podcast, In the Mood for California, please sign up for future episodes at your preferred platform, and please leave your feedback. I really appreciate your time and support. You can follow me on Instagram at In the Mood for California, and check out my website, www.inthemoodforcalifornia.com. I'm a realtor with Beverly & Company Luxury Properties, and my license number is 019-78714. Selling and buying homes with soul is not just my real estate strategy. It is an intuitive and holistic approach that embraces your values, aspirations, and conscious intentions. If you want to discover the power of mindfulness in your real estate journey with my compassionate guidance, I'm here for you. Next time, we embark on a journey to the vibrant and dynamic city of Oakland, a place rich in history and brimming with cultural diversity. As always, I'm eagerly anticipating our adventure in this fascinating locale. See you there.
In the Mood for California, feel the soul of Old Hollywood.